The Julian Assange result is phenomenal, isn't it? Really, it's a first step towards freedom. I would hope that this would presage the doors opening for Julian Assange to be released from Belmarsh prison, but I think I'm being over optimistic in that respect. But Assange now has a right to challenge the US extradition order, and his lawyer has argued, or his lawyers have argued, that he faces effectively political charges. In other words, that should he be taken to the US, he becomes a political prisoner, the stuff of Amnesty International, surely. And the US, in contrast, argues that he endangered US lives by disclosing paperwork about the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. But surely the failure wasn't Julian Assange. The failure was with US and other governmental security systems. The leak rather than the postman. Stella Assange says that this day is decisive. She's right. And as I say, I think it should see his release from Belmarsh, where, as far as I can see, he's kept for no reason other than the fact that the US wants him. No reason to be kept there at all. And she says it's a shameful attack on journalists, the efforts to extradite him, and what she also calls state retaliation. It's a spiteful part of the machinery of intimidation, because the only reason that they can do it is because he is already being held in a prison. But I don't see that there's any reason to hold him in a prison anymore. The charges were effectively contempt of court for his eluding bail. Surely he has spent that time. Surely he should now be freed. And I hope that will come. But at the moment, I'm not particularly convinced our law is as trustworthy indeed as the NHS or indeed the post office. We are enmired in the filth of control and authority, where whoever shouts loudest is the person who is going to be obeyed and believed. And we've got into a system where people are expecting ordinary individuals to obey them simply because they're screaming at them. This is the stuff of Suella Braverman, but this is the stuff that eventually becomes tyrannous. And I remember it being explained to me years and years ago when I lived in Greece, and the idea that people who shout loudest are the people who are obeyed. And I thought, that isn't democracy. That isn't civilization. That's tyranny, or the law of the jungle. And as for our British law system, I'm seeing at first hand how the legal process can simply be ignored if lawyers have the ear of the government or the ear of authority on a technicality. A case can simply be closed or sidelined or delayed and delayed and delayed. And because the legal system knows how much it costs to put anything through, people can run out of money. And the law knows this. There isn't an infinite amount of money, even if you have insurance. It's limited. And a legal system that wants to waste the time will just quietly or loudly read through the paperwork as if it's stupid and take up the time and then charge you for it. I also remember, this is dead memories, isn't it? I also remember realizing, talking to some of my friends who were studying law, that law is really about memory. It's not about creation or inspiration, it's about memory. Inspiration and creation come into it, but the majority of law is about memory. And someone who is good at memory will be good at law. But in the end, it doesn't get much beyond that. And yet we are in awe of lawyers. Why? Because we're in awe of people who can remember facts? No. Because these are the gatekeepers of control, the gatekeepers of control. And in a society which is rapidly approaching control central, the gatekeepers of control are very important.